Welcome to On Air with Amber Wynn, where nonprofit leaders learn to fuse passion and commitment with proven business strategies to create long-term funding, impact, and sustainability. And now here's your host and resident Philanthrepreneur, Amber Wynn.
Welcome, fam. It's your girl. You're on air with Amber Wynn. And today I want to slow things down a little bit and talk to you from a place of love, right? Today's topic is networking in the nonprofit sector, building capacity by being strategic. And I'm saying it's from a place of love because it may not come out quite right. But here's what I want to say. It is important that a nonprofit leader gets out into the community and network, right? And it's important for the organization to be seen and for funders and other nonprofit organizations to know you because they may want to collaborate with you. But here's the thing. It's also important for you to rest. It's also important for you to have time to be strategic. It's important for you to spend time in your organization. So there has to be some balance. And I can say that there's some nonprofit leaders who sit on every committee, who's on every commission, who's at every event. Every time you show up, you see that nonprofit leader. And in the back of my head, I'm saying, well, how are they getting any work done? You know what I mean? And yes, you may have a second in command who's holding down the fort, but are you being strategic? I think is a better word. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about networking in the nonprofit sector, but more specifically, building capacity by being strategic when we get back.
If your grants aren't getting funded, it could be because the funder can't see how your programs are making an impact in your community. Get the How to Demonstrate Impact workbook to quantify the work you're doing in your community in a way that a funder can see a potential return on their investment. Funders need proof that your organization will use their grant dollars to improve your community. That proof is called impact, and impact is quantified through measurable outcomes. Leverage my 30 years of program development experience to help increase your chance of securing funding. Order your copy today.
Welcome back. You're on air with Amber Wynn, and today we're talking about networking in the nonprofit sector. Before we went to break, I said that it's important for a nonprofit to build visibility, and it is. But when we talk about networking, I'm going to encourage you to be strategic. You'll hear a little bit more about this with our conversation with Brittany Daniel a little bit later in the nonprofit spotlight. But here's what I'm going to encourage nonprofit leaders to do is to really, really look at their time and the return on their investment when they're out in the community. For example, you may get an invitation from the County Board of Supervisors saying, hey, we have this event, we're giving out turkeys or whatever, come on out. If your organization is not a recipient of said turkeys, is that a good use of your time? Because the reality is the supervisor is going to be up on the dais. They're going to say, hey, everybody, I'm so happy to be here. They're going to be there, and then they're going to jump into the car and they're going to go into the next event. So is there an opportunity to network, or are you going to be standing in line with people and nothing really comes of it? If it's the latter, right? If you're just there because, you think you may be able to get to see the county supervisor, but in reality, there's no one there to make the introduction or whatever, then perhaps that's not the best event. Maybe a better event is a gala where you know that county supervisor is going to be, and there's a higher likelihood that you'll have the opportunity to interact and engage. Or how about you attend an event that's being thrown by one of your colleagues, another executive director, where that executive director can actually make an introduction to the county supervisor. So I'm saying you want to be strategic about where you're going, when you're going, and, how it's going to benefit you. Another example could be you sit on 5 commissions, 5 committees. How is it paying off for you, right? Do you just get to have 6 cards and say, oh, I'm a commissioner, Or are you sitting on the commission where it gives you exposure to the governor, or it gives you insight knowledge about funding that's coming down the pipeline, or it gives you information for your potential, clients? Sitting on commissions or committees for the sake of, when there's no return, there's no tangible benefit, is you giving up your time and your energy. And you need to be strategic because there's only so much time in the day. I'm saying this because I see a lot of people, they're out and they're doing the advocacy, and that's fine because some organizations are all about advocacy. But then I see them, they're at this gala and then they're at this event, and I'm just wondering, are you making the best use of your time, right? We want to help you build capacity by being strategic. If you know that a particular funder that you've been dying to submit to, but they have unsolicited calls, is going to be at this event, that's the perfect event for you. You go, you work the room, you get in front of that funder, and you're like, hey, I'm Amber Wynn, how are you? And they're like, oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, my organization is da-da-da-da-da, and we do da-da-da-da-da, and I've been really trying to get in front of you because I'd like to find out how I can get an invitation to invite. And then she'll say, oh, give me your card. Yep, they call you. That was a worth investment, right? It was worth your time to go because now you've met that funder. Now you have a call that's scheduled, and now maybe potentially you'll be invited to submit that grant for that unsolicited call. So don't try and be at every event when the doors open. Don't try and, be on every committee. Look to see what it is that your organization really needs. Do you need more relationships? Do you need more money? Do you need access to individuals? And then strategically pick where you're going to be. Because at the end of the day, if you're not at home at your organization creating strategy that's going to grow your organization, then you're just doing busy work. I've had individuals in my course, and I'm like, you're not doing the growth work. So if you're not doing the growth work, then you're not going to grow. And they're like, I don't have time. And I'm like, well, why don't you have time? Oh, well, I went to Sacramento last week, and then, I'm going to Tennessee the week after that. And I'm saying, and me, I asked the question, well, how is that benefiting you? Well, it doesn't benefit me, but I'm a part of this coalition. Okay, so can you pick one event that you're going to travel to? Tell them you can only commit to one. You're going every weekend, so now you're not doing the work that's going to move your organization forward. This one particular organization, she had a couple of people quit because she's not there to provide the vision and the oversight. And then when things go wrong, then she's, snapping their heads off, and they're like, you're not even here. We're doing the best that we can. And so it's just important to understand that there needs to be balance. So that is my word for today, right? Make sure that your networking has a return on the investment. And if you're not sure about what's important and how to prioritize, I've got the solution for you. It's called 90 Days to a Profitable Nonprofit. Let's take a look. Are you struggling to fund your programs? Can't get a grant to save your life? Most consultants will share the what of how to start a nonprofit or how to fundraise. They may even share the why, but they don't share the how because that's where they make their money. Now, I'm not hating, I'm a businesswoman too. But I've been where you are, trying to make the world a better place. Struggling to keep the doors open, up to the wee hours of the night, writing grants and doing whatever needed to be done. And because I've walked in your shoes, I'm not here to make you spin your wheels, waste your time or your hard-earned money. We ain't got time for that. The world needs you. I'm here to show you how to transform that pit you keep dumping your hard-earned money into a profitable nonprofit. I take my 30 years of nonprofit experience as a founder, executive director, program developer, grant writer, and funder, giving out over $7 million annually in grants. And I save you, literally, thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours. I walk you through setting up your nonprofit organization so that you can be generating enough revenue to cover your monthly expenses in just 90 days. How would that feel? Not paying bills from your personal bank account. I share my insider secrets, tips, tricks of the trade, and provide you with a step-by-step roadmap on how to turn your bootstrap organization into a profitable nonprofit. Within 6 months, you could be generating enough revenue to pay your salary or fully fund your programs. The choice is yours. But you have to get the blueprint. And it took me 3 years to develop it, but it's here, and it's going to change your life. Join my other successful clients who are just like you, full of passion and determination, but they had no idea all that it takes to run and fund a successful nonprofit. Now they're winning grants and drawing a salary, and they know what it is that they're supposed to be doing to run a successful nonprofit. They're no longer making it up as they go. They have the roadmap, and they're clear about next steps. And I want that for you too. So what do you get in this course? You'll walk away with knowledge, products, processes, and systems. Not just a bunch of promises, but exactly what you need to turn your organization into a profitable nonprofit. I promise, you don't need grants. What you need is a solid infrastructure. And this course is going to give you all of that and more. And what's more, it comes with a money-back guarantee. So go ahead, click the link below to register for this course. Welcome back. You're on air with Amber Wynn. And today we're talking about networking in the nonprofit sector. But now it's time for me to answer your pressing questions with Ask Amber. Today's question comes from Jason. Jason is from New Jersey, and it's a straightforward question. He says, "Hey Amber, it's Jason from New Jersey. Is it true that nonprofits have to file 1099s for their vendors?" So Jason, nonprofits are businesses, and nonprofits have to report to specific agencies. There's some on the federal level, and that would be your 990s. The state level, you've got the Secretary of State, and the local level, which is the Attorney General. This question goes to the Secretary of State. So if a nonprofit spends $600 or more paying a vendor in 1 year, then they need to issue a 1099. A nonprofit is a business, right? And so just because you're tax exempt doesn't mean that you don't have to follow the laws of the land. The laws of the land says if you pay a vendor more than $600 in a calendar year, in a fiscal year, then you have to issue them a 1099. I'm going to tell you the reason why. It's because the Secretary of State is looking to collect on taxes. You may not pay a vendor, or if you pay a vendor, that means you report it to the state. If they don't report that they received it, how would the Secretary of State know? So it's like a check and balance, right? If you say, I paid Amber Wynn $650, then you need to issue me a 1099. Because what it says to the state is they need to come back to Amber Wynn and say, you were paid $650. You have to pay taxes on that. So it's just a way of ensuring that the state can get their money. That's the truth of it all. So being tax exempt does not mean that you don't have to follow the laws of the land, that you don't have to report. You do. You have agencies on every level as a nonprofit that you're responsible to reporting to. I hope that helped. If you have a question for me, you can hit me up on any of my socials. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. And if you don't have any social medias, you can email me at amber@amberwynn.net, and I'll be happy to answer your question online. All right, so now it's time for my favorite part of the episode, when we get to shine a light on America's most amazing leaders, our nonprofit leaders, and I've expanded the episode to also include those individuals that support them. We're on part 3 of our conversation with Brittany Daniel. Brittany Daniel is the program officer at the California Community Foundation. And we're going to continue this conversation. So let's jump back into it.
Like Instagram cannot be your only like marketing tool. I know there are a lot of new and upcoming like more grassroots orgs, and they do the thing, they do really great work, but they're like, reach out to me on Instagram. I'm like, on social media? I'm like, okay. So I think the lost art of the website, I really appreciate a good website. Same thing, we can always go back there. Where's your annual report? What's your EIN number? Like we can go find the things we need
on the website. The first thing a funder's going to do is Google you.
Yes.
And on the website, there's an about us, so we can see who your leadership is. We can look the contact. Do you have a PO box, or is there a physical address so we can do a site visit? We can look at what your mission is. That is on a website. That is not on social media.
Correct. Yes. So yeah. Like, I would say folks who are just non-responsive, right? Like a timely or fashion response could be an email, but it's like we have to continue to email. Like I would say we have had organizations that have left money on the table, missing meetings. Yes. Not responsive. You know, we funded them maybe once and maybe want to come back again and want to talk to them, and like, we can't reach them. Sometimes we have like opportunities and we think of organizations, right, and then we can't get a hold of folks. Again, is it the social media? I have definitely found folks' emails on their social media, like personal emails, because like you're not responding, and that info at blah, 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 that's right, on the website that no one sees.
No one checks.
So sometimes we are like at community events and we may see somebody, a flyer or a table, and we're like, oh, we'll just Google it, put that in my notes and I'm going to Google it. But then we see that there's no website. There's no one who responds. I can't contact anybody.
Just miss money. They just miss money.
So I think that's money that has, and I would honestly say that is money that has been left on the table for a lot of folks just not being ready.
Welcome back. You're on air with Amber Wynn. I hope you're enjoying your conversation, my conversation with Brittany Daniel as much as I have. I feel that she's been very honest and direct, and you don't always get to have those level of conversations with funders. So I hope that you are enjoying it and that you are gobbling up all of the deliciousness that she's sharing with you. I think she's been giving us some really great tips and insider secrets on how to approach program officers. So that's my goal, is to help strengthen nonprofit organizations by giving them as much information as they can to make them more competitive than the next organization. But more importantly, I want you to understand the nonprofit sector. And as we know, funders are really, a big part of that. So thank you for hanging out with me today. If you want to hear the full episode, go check it out on my YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the episode with people in your network. And make sure you come back and see me next week, because I'll be here. Yes, I will. And until then, take care of yourself like you take care of your community.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Head over to www.amberwyn.net/podcast for the links and resources mentioned in today's podcast. See you next time.